Hey, this is Daniel Grove, and I just released my first pack of procedural materials, and I wanted to show it off to you in this quick little video and show you what all it includes. You can buy it online at the links shown here, and what it includes is 41 different procedural materials. Now, a procedural material is a material that includes textures that are not created with image files like your traditional textures are, but instead the surface details are generated mathematically through noise and math and all kinds of combination of nodes to make realistic or fictional details. And I have them organized into different categories. So here's a blank Blender file. I'm going to open the asset browser. This is new in Blender 3.0. And the materials inside of the procedural pack are all asset marked already. So as long as you have the asset browser looking at the correct folder where this blend file is stored, then it'll show up here in your asset browser. So here it is on the left, Procedural Materials Volume 1. So here are the metal materials, here's the nature materials, the others, and my favorite, the sci-fi materials. Now, the great thing about procedural materials is that they never end in terms of the tiling. There is no tiling because all the textures are created randomly and endlessly. So you can scale this up or down infinitely for large objects or for extreme close-ups, and you'll never hit any pixels or resolution issues. Also, all of these procedural materials can be tweaked and customized and completely edited into something brand new or to fit whatever your needs are. So here I've drag and dropped the heat shield tiles material onto this simple cube with an HDR texture to light the scene, and you can already tell it's a really nice realistic looking scratched up metal surface with some tiling panels which can also be customized in their pattern and things like that. You can change the color, you can change anything. So over here on the right is the node tree that creates this setup. It's relatively simple, but I've done all the hard and dirty work for you, so you can just drag and drop materials and have fun with it by creating scenes quickly and easily and getting the looks that you want. But if you do want to customize things, I've pre-marked some of the major nodes as blue, which just helps you pinpoint where the major things are, and I've done my best to label things so you know what they're doing. You can of course change anything else in between and do whatever the heck you want with them. But for those of you that are not super keen or well versed in node modification or creating textures, the blue nodes should help you find the parts that are most important to you. Some of them include some animated parts, such as this one, which has like a moving liquid plasma inside of a metal cage. You can of course customize the speed and the size of all the noise and how things layer and all that cool stuff. Most of these materials also include displacement, which you do need to do a few things to make it work on your mesh depending on what it is. Putting on this basic cube is not really going to give you any great results right off the bat, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tab into edit mode, subdivide it, go up to about 10. Now it's getting a little interesting. We've got some shapes happening because the displacement is already set up in the materials, and you do have to be in experimental mode to get the proper results. That's in the render panel, and it only works in cycles. And then lastly, add a subdivider, put it on simple and adaptive subdivision. So now, based on how close or far away your camera is, it will subdivide the rest of the mesh for you to get the best details out of your displacement. So this will actually deform your mesh based on what that texture is. Here's a cool one that gives a lot of chunky square shapes. This one has some glowing lines in it. All these colors, of course, and sizes of different tiles can be customized. A lot of these are great for spaceship holes, megastructures, walls and hallways. And I even have some that are set up to work great on Bezier curves, such as cables and wires. It looks good on this cube, but if I make a Bezier curve, give it some thickness, and drop the material onto it, we get a perfectly mapped sci-fi tube, and as you bend the curves, the material will follow and respond to that. Here's another cool one for curves. You can really just drag these materials onto any object you want, and if the mapping doesn't line up, you can just go into the nodes themselves using things like your UV mapping or the object coordinates. Included in the purchase are these 3 example scenes where I've used the included procedural materials to create some pretty cool scenes just to show off what it can do. My favorite of the 3 is definitely this temple scene where I created a really neat fantasy interior dungeon or temple scene where I did basically zero modeling. These columns are literally cubes stacked on top of each other. The outer wall is just a cube with one beveled edge. The ground with all the sand is just a flat subdivided plane with a few pieces raised up. And these stone stepways that are buried in the sand are just a cube with the array modifier attached to it. Adjusting the materials is easy and fun, and it just saves you so much time when you already have these pre-made assets and can drag and drop them onto your models. So go get the procedural pack, start building scenes and using these materials, tweak them, make them your own thing, and have fun. Hope you enjoy it and love to see y'all's renders from what you make with it.